Hello, this is Brian with ZimCo Survival. I am back. Now, I do apologize for the delay in my videos. We're supposed to go on an 8-day hike on the Appalachian, but unfortunately, my wife ended up having an asthma attack the first night we were there, so we had to come back the next day. Didn't get to do much in the way of hiking, but it is what it is. She ended up using her inhaler 4 times in 6 hours, which is unacceptable, so her health comes before the hike. I'm actually going to be doing a review of the Teton Sports Mountain Adventure 4000 backpack. Because I wasn't able to test it on the hike like I was supposed to, I actually sat down and have spent quite a bit of time trying to destroy it, testing its durability, and we'll go through that during that video. But right now, I have this. This is the Teton emergency Mylar bag. Teton was kind enough to send me this to do a review for you guys, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Now, I actually have received this quite some time ago, probably 2 weeks, and I've been putting some pretty good testing onto it, including taking it on that short portion of the hike that I was actually able to do. So I've tested this thing out in many different temperatures, and I can tell you before we even get into the review, 50 to 60 degrees will be the comfort of this bag, but keep in mind it's an emergency Mylar bag, so I'm not going to, equate it to a standalone sleeping system. It does grab condensation because it's not breathable, but that's to be expected with Mylar. At 35 degrees, I was cold, but not freezing. So I could see where this bag would keep you alive and help keep you from going into hypothermia down into the low 30s. I would not trust it down into the 20s, simply because all Mylar, in my experience, doesn't do well down that low. So I would say this is pretty comparable to a normal Mylar bag or a Mylar blanket. If you're going to choose between a Mylar blanket and a Mylar bag, choose the bag because it is, well, sealed. It's not going to release heat through anything but your head, the area around your shoulders. So if you pull that in nice and tight, you can keep most of the warmth in, which makes it more efficient. So let's go ahead and get into the actual review of the bag. It comes in a really nice stuff sack. It is a ripstop stuff sack. Teton claims that this is not made out of normal Mylar, that it's made out of a proprietary material that they use, making it puncture resistant and tear resistant. Where normal Mylar bag, as soon as it gets a pinprick, will just split in half, and anyone who's used Mylar will know that I'm telling you the truth there. So I'm actually going to do a test, and that's what the majority of this video is going to be, because it is a Mylar bag. It's a pretty simple review. I'm actually going to test that claim on camera for you guys. Now, I've tested its durability. It is a reusable bag. You can put it back in the stuff sack, stick it back in your pack, and you're fine. I haven't had any issues with it, just tearing apart on me. So I would say this is reusable. So let's go ahead and pull it out of the bag, and I will go ahead and try to poke a stick through it to test it out, because as you know, if you put a Mylar bag on the ground, sticks and things like that are the biggest problem you're going to have with it. So let me go ahead and pull it out. It comes in 3 colors. You can get camo, you can get forest green, and you can get, well, they call it dark earth, or you can get an orange. So depending on what you want, depends on the color. If it is an emergency bag for you, I would recommend getting the orange to make yourself visible. But this is what the bag looks like when it comes out. Okay, that's the stuff sack. This is the bag. The bag itself is 36 inches wide, so 3 feet wide. It's a nice wide bag by, I believe, 84 inches long, which should make it about 8 feet long, somewhere in that area. Well, around 7 feet long, I believe, 7 some change. So it will fit most people. The bag itself, I don't know if you can hear it, it doesn't sound like Mylar, and that kind of confused me when I first got it. I was kind of expecting, even though they say it's different than Mylar, I was expecting it to be Mylar-like, you know, but it's actually very quiet compared to regular Mylar. It doesn't have that ear screeching, crinkling sound. So I decided to actually put some testing into this, and so far haven't been able to damage it. But I decided to save this test to do on the video. And that's basically, I'm going to take a normal stick, I'm going to try to push it through this Mylar bag. And then, if it goes through, I'm going to pull on it to see if it rips. Because they claim that this is a rip stop, well, not rip stop, but a rip resistant type of Mylar. So let's go ahead. I have the stick here and we're going to try to push it through. Okay, it went through all right. It is ripping, but nowhere near what a normal Mylar bag would do. There we go. Alright, so you guys saw it on camera. Honestly, it actually did take a little bit of force for me to get the stick through. As you guys saw, you know, you can see the stick pushing in. Would it do that on the ground? Probably. If you were actually sitting on it, I could see you putting enough force to push the stick through. But it's not like a normal Mylar bag where you would actually end up, you know, laying it on a pine needle or, you know, something like that, and just laying it down pokes a hole through it. So I would say that it is fairly puncture resistant. Not puncture proof, as you guys saw, but resistant enough that everyday use won't poke a hole in it. And as I've been able to prove, I have not poked a hole in this bag through all the testing that I've done with it. You know, laying it just straight on the ground, no protection, I haven't poked a hole. This is the first hole I poked in this bag, and I did that on purpose. So during normal everyday use, I would say that this bag is fairly puncture resistant. As far as tear resistant goes, it did take a bit of pulling before I was able to start tearing it. Now once the tear started, you know, it tore. But as far as actually getting, you can see all the stretching and stuff here, as far as actually getting that hole to turn into a tear, it did take quite a bit. So again, if you do manage to get a hole in it, I would say, you know, just a little piece of tape over the top of it will completely stop it from ripping. Where normal Mylar, doesn't matter what you do, it's going to rip on you once it has a hole. This one, I'd say it actually gives you the time to fix it before that rip becomes severe, or that puncture becomes severe. I don't know how to describe how it feels. I don't know if any of you guys use those trash bags and stuff that are I don't know how to describe it. That it feels like a trash bag almost. That same kind of material that you would find a trash bag made out of. So that's my opinion on it. You know, it's probably made out of something similar to a trash bag, which is why it resists punctures and things better than normal Mylar. If I had to give an entire, you know, a rating on this, now keep in mind, I did want to say something here. It is taped on the seams, all right? So you can cut the tape seam, and use this as an emergency shelter if you needed to. So that's one use for this that you have, other than just a normal Mylar blanket bag thing. If I had to rate this, if I was going to rate it, I would probably say it's a 4 out of 5. I normally do out of 10s, but I think I'm going to do out of 5s from now on. So it's a 4 out of 5 for me. It's lightweight. It packs back into its own stuff sack, which is something that Mylar is infamous for not doing. So you can stuff this back into your stuff sack. It is reusable. I've used it several times myself during the testing on it. Its ratings are pretty much the same as normal Mylar, so in all honesty, if you're going to get an emergency Mylar bag for your kit, whatever it may be, this is definitely something that I would pick up, because I've proven to myself that it works. So, you know, you don't have to take my word for it, but it's fairly cheap, and well, for Mylar I wouldn't call it cheap. It's about $15, $17 or so, but you know, you can always pick one up and test that yourself. But in my opinion, if I was going to get a Mylar emergency bag, this is probably the one I would buy. In fact, more than likely the one that I would buy. I like its quality, I like its durability, I like how quiet it is compared to normal Mylar. So, in my opinion, 4 out of 5. The only thing that I would probably have changed if I was Titan as far as this bag goes is put a little bit better quality tape on here. It hasn't come off yet, but it is a very, very thin tape. So if I was Titan, my opinion on it, add a little bit of utility to this bag by changing the tape to something similar to Gorilla Tape. So that way when people actually want to use the tape for something like, you know, makeshift rope or something like that to build their tarp out of, or to build their emergency shelter with using this blanket, they'll have the tools all built into the blanket. But right now, this tape, I would not trust it to act as a tie-out for this tarp, should I end up in a situation where I need to use it that way. But that's really the only thing that I would change. Just add a little bit better quality tape to it so that you can use it as a binding to tie up the tarp if you had to. But there you go. There's my review. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Please have a great night. Bye-bye.